Hello friends, welcome to our channel Creating Essence. I am Megan. I'm so glad you're here today. During our recent curriculum plans for the 2021-2022 school year, I had many requests for a flip through of the creative writing book from The Good and the Beautiful that we will be using for our son in 8th grade as part of his language arts program.
This is not a really huge book. It's a spiral bound notebook size. But each page has a lot of creative work to start with and build off from. This page just talks about the good and beautiful writing style, just getting to the heart, the good and the beautiful means in our writing. Starts off with descriptive writing practice. This is talking about verbs. Practice replacing descriptions that state the way something is using to be verbs with descriptions that use active verbs. So it is working on expanding their grammatical usage in addition to creative writings. This is a great time to work on use with the thesaurus and just digging into thinking about what those verbs actually mean and how we can use more descriptive and creative words. And then it goes on to the senses, telling you choose 2 fruits that you can touch, smell, and taste, such as a lemon, banana, grapes, or an apple. Observe the fruits closely and then fill out the chart for each fruit using as many descriptive words as you can. So they write down what the fruit is, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like, and what it tastes like. And trying to get them to use something very concrete in front of them to work on descriptions, to expand their skills and the way they view things with something as commonplace in their lives as a piece of fruit. And this in the future will really make them more capable of looking at everything that way by starting with something so commonplace. Then it moves on to colors. Go outside or look out a window and describe in detail the nature that you see and description of the colors. Then it goes through sounds and it works on size, different words you can use. It walks them through observing what things look like at different times of day and really helps them become more aware of their surroundings as far as how they would describe that and what they would notice, what things are different in the early morning, during the middle of the day, and at sunset. And then this one is a little bit more independent. It tells them to find 3 interesting items around them and say what the item is and then describe them in great detail. The next section moves on to writing exercises, covering things like gestures. It's really trying to get them to expand their writing skills more by paying attention to those nuances of other things they might read as well as in their own writing. Then this gives them a slice of a story, a little bit of a story that they want you to write a paragraph about with this prompt right here. Jumpstart beginnings. Find the first 2 sentences you really like from books you have never read. Write the sentences in the gray box, then finish the paragraph in your own words with your own ideas. Then it moves into working on emotions, beauty in ordinary moments. Then it works on story starters. Then they start working on filling out possible main characters for stories. Antagonists, covering what those are in detail and what makes them that way, filling out details. So they're much less flat type of characters. Possible settings. So they really dig into the different aspects of what a story is based on, which really helps round out their practical usage of grammatical terms and makes them a stronger writer. Ideas for mysteries, possible good and beautiful messages. An example being a boy realizes that being kind is more important than being popular. In my experience, reading my kids' awesome little stories that they start with, is that there isn't often this type of message. There's just a certain scenario they wanted to portray. So I think getting them to think about something like this would really help round out their story more and give them more of a point than just working through a funny scenario or something like that. The next unit goes into poetry, which I think is fantastic. I've seen poetry either be really, really heavy in a curriculum or just skimmed over entirely. And I feel like this does a great job of prompting some work with poetry that you don't see often. Then we start with full stories, possible plots. Then it works on fleshing out, really developing that plot that you're working through on several pages. Then it talks about writer's block, which if you're much of a writer, you know that's a real thing.
And that is a flip through of The Good and the Beautiful Creative Writing Notebook that we'll be using in conjunction with literary studies for my son in 8th grade. Now, I talked in my curriculum review that my son does have high functioning autism. And I really feel like all those concrete examples and getting kids to look at things that are in their everyday life and study them are a wonderful practice for him, because they're just things he doesn't tend to notice. Things like facial expressions are one of those social cue issues that we struggle with. So I'm really excited to see how he does with this program in the coming school year. If you all have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer them. I will link in the info box below the whole 8th grade plan that we have for this coming school year, as well as the playlist to this year's homeschool videos. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it if you think anyone will find it useful, and subscribe to hang out for more.